Listen to me carefully, because this will change your life forever. If you think someone is going to come and save you, think again. If you think life will hand you success just because you deserve it, wake up. The only thing that will give you real power, real success, and real independence is your mind. And how do you sharpen it? Through education and unshakable career. You want respect? Build something. You want freedom? Earn it. You want to never depend on anyone? Focus on your education and your career. Because trust me, that is the real glow up. Your education is your superpower, not money, not beauty, not luck. Education. Because the one thing that no one can ever take away from you is your knowledge. It is the one asset that appreciates in value every single day. And yet, so many people treat it like an option rather than a necessity. Let me tell you something. Your education is the one weapon that will make you unstoppable. Think about it. When you walk into a room, what truly makes people respect you is not just how you look or how you dress. It's the way you speak, the way you carry yourself, the confidence in your words. And that confidence, it doesn't come from expensive clothes or designer bags. It comes from knowing your worth, from knowing that you have something valuable inside you. It comes from education. Picture this, two people apply for the same job. One has spent years investing in their knowledge, building their skills, mastering their craft. The other thought they could get by with charm, connections, and sheer luck. Who do you think will win in the long run? Luck runs out, connections fade, but knowledge is permanent power. You can lose everything, but if you have a sharp mind and strong skills, you can build it all back again, twice as fast, twice as strong. Let's take an example from daily life. Imagine you're sitting in a room full of people, a heated discussion is happening and everyone is throwing in their opinions. But when you speak, the entire room goes silent. Not because you're the loudest, not because you're the most aggressive, but because what you say carries weight. Because your words are backed by knowledge, by depth, by intellect. That is the power of education. It makes people stop and listen. It commands attention without demanding it. Look around. The most powerful leaders, the most successful entrepreneurs, the most inspiring personalities, they all have one thing in common. They never stopped learning. Whether it's Oprah Winfrey, who built an empire on her intellect and communication skills, or Elon Musk, who self-educated himself in engineering and business, they prove one thing. Education isn't just about degrees. It's about constantly growing, constantly improving, constantly sharpening your mind. Now, let's talk about something real. How many times have you seen people who rely on others for financial support, for validation, for direction in life? How many times have you seen people stuck in situations they hate because they don't have the power to walk away? That's what happens when you don't invest in yourself. When you don't make education a priority, you give up control of your own life. You let other people decide your fate. But when you have knowledge, when you have skills, when you have something to offer the world, you become untouchable. You create your own destiny. You become the person people rely on instead of being the one who relies on others. Think of a house. If the foundation is weak, it will crumble with the first storm. But if the foundation is strong, it can withstand anything, earthquakes, hurricanes, anything life throws at it. Your education is that foundation. Life will throw challenges at you, people will betray you, circumstances will test you. But if your mind is strong, if your knowledge is solid, nothing can break you. I have seen people who were underestimated, overlooked, dismissed because they didn't fit the conventional idea of success, but they used their intelligence, their knowledge, their education to rise above everything. They proved that real power isn't in looking rich, it's in being rich in knowledge. Because when you know something that others don't, you become invaluable. When you have skills that the world needs, you become irreplaceable. Imagine two women. One has spent her life depending on someone else, her parents, her partner, her circumstances. The other has spent her life building herself, learning, growing, evolving. The first one is afraid every day, afraid of being abandoned, afraid of losing security, afraid of not being enough. The second one, she fears nothing. Because she knows that no matter what happens, she can take care of herself. She doesn't need a savior, she is the savior. Every great success story begins with one decision, the decision to invest in knowledge. Whether it's the student who burns the midnight oil while others party, the employee who upskills while others complain, the entrepreneur who reads and learns while others waste time, these are the people who eventually rise to the top. They understand that the mind is the most powerful tool in the world. A sharp mind can break barriers. A sharp mind can change the world. And if you ever feel like giving up, like education is too hard, like success is too far away, remember this: the struggle you go through now is the power you will hold tomorrow. The sleepless nights, the extra hours of studying, the sacrifices, these are the bricks that will build your empire. While others are sleeping, you are growing. While others are wasting time, you are sharpening your future. It's not just about a degree. It's about becoming a person who can walk into any room and own it. It's about becoming a person who never has to beg for a seat at the table because they are the one who builds the table. It's about creating a life so strong that no one can shake it. Education is your superpower, and if you use it well, you will never have to ask for a place in this world. The world will make space for you. A strong career gives you options, not begging hands. When you have a career, you have choices. You don't have to wait for someone to approve your dreams. You don't have to tolerate disrespect just to survive. You don't have to beg anyone to stay in your life because you know your worth. Think about this. How many people stay in relationships that destroy them just because they can afford to leave? How many people wake up every morning dreading the life they are trapped in because they never built something for themselves? The truth is, without a strong career, you are vulnerable. You are at the mercy of someone else's decision, someone else's kindness, someone else's mood, and that is not living, that is surviving. Imagine a woman who is intelligent, hardworking, and ambitious, but she never focused on her career. She depended on her family, her partner, her circumstances, maybe a betrayal, and suddenly she realizes she has no options. She can't leave, she can't move forward. She is stuck. Why? Because she never built something of her own. Now, picture another woman. She spent years building herself. She faced struggles, she worked long nights, she made sacrifices. But today, she walks into any room with her head held high. She doesn't need to tolerate toxic environments. She doesn't need to accept less than what she deserves. Because she has something powerful, options. If a company doesn't treat her right, she can walk away. If a relationship doesn't serve her, she can leave. If life takes a turn, she has the resources to handle it. That is what a strong career does for you. It gives you the power to choose, the power to walk away, the power to create the life you want. Look around you. How many people do you know who are stuck in miserable jobs, terrible relationships, or toxic situations because they have no financial independence? That's what happens when you don't prioritize your career. You end up living a life that someone else designs for you instead of building a life on your own terms. And that is the difference between those who struggle and those who thrive. Think about the most powerful women in the world. They didn't get there by chance. They didn't get there by luck. They got there because they refused to rely on anyone else for their survival. Whether it's Oprah Winfrey, who built her empire from nothing, or Indra Nooyi, who became one of the most powerful CEOs in the world, they all had one thing in common. They built careers that gave them freedom. It's like playing chess. If you only have one move, you are trapped. If you have multiple moves, you are in control. A strong career gives you multiple moves. It allows you to pivot when life changes. It allows you to make decisions from a place of power, not desperation. It allows you to stand tall, knowing that no matter what happens, you can take care of yourself. Imagine walking into a high-end store. You see a dress you love, a watch that speaks to your soul, a car that feels like it was made for you. Now imagine having to ask someone for permission to buy it. Imagine hearing, "No, we can't afford it," or worse, "You don't need that." That's what happens when you don't have financial independence. Every decision, big or small, depends on someone else's approval. But when you have a strong career, the conversation changes. Instead of asking, you decide. Instead of waiting, you take action. That is the power of options. And it's not just about money. It's about respect. When you walk into a room, people don't respect you because of how pretty you look or how nice you are. They respect you because of the value you bring, because of the knowledge you carry, because of the career you have built. Think of two employees in a company. One never upgrades their skills, never takes their job seriously, always depends on others to get things done. The other one, they learn, they grow, they become so good at what they do that the company can't afford to lose them. Now, if both of them are given an ultimatum, stay or leave, who do you think will be in control? The one with no skills will be desperate to hold on to their job. The one who has built their expertise will have options. That is the difference between surviving and thriving. Your career is not just about making money. It is about making choices. It is about having the ability to leave a situation that no longer serves you without fearing the consequences. It is about never having to lower your standards because you are afraid of losing security. Let's talk about real life situations. A woman in a toxic marriage, but she can't leave because she has no financial independence. A man in a dead-end job, but he can't quit because he has no other skills. A student who dreams of studying abroad, but their family can't afford it and they have no means to support themselves. These are not just random stories, these are realities. And they can all be changed with one thing, a strong career. When you have a career, you don't have to wait for opportunities, you create them. You don't have to depend on luck. You create your own success. You don't have to settle for less than what you deserve. You go after what you want. A strong career means freedom, freedom to travel, freedom to explore, freedom to live life on your terms. It means waking up every morning knowing that you are in control of your destiny. It means never having to beg, never having to stay in a situation just because you have no other choice. Because the truth is, the world belongs to those who can stand on their own feet. The world respects those who don't wait for a helping hand but create their own path. The world listens to those who have built something for themselves. And that is what a strong career gives you. The power to stand tall, the power to choose, the power to never settle. Dependence is dangerous. It puts your life in someone else's hands. It makes you wait for permission, for approval, for survival. It turns you into a puppet in a world where only those who stand on their own feet get to call the shots. You have to be your own boss because in this life, control is everything. The moment you rely on someone else for your financial security, your decisions or your happiness, you give them the power to control you. And when you give away that power, you lose yourself. Imagine a woman in a toxic relationship. She knows she deserves better, but she can't leave. Why? Because she's financially dependent, because she has nowhere to go, because she allowed someone else to become the foundation of her survival. That's what dependence does. It forces you to stay in places where you no longer belong. It makes you tolerate disrespect. It makes you settle for less than you deserve. Now imagine another woman. She has built her career, her finances, her confidence. She knows that if something no longer serves her, she can walk away. She never has to beg for love, for attention, for basic respect. She chooses her life. She isn't forced into it. That's what being your own boss looks like. It's not about owning a business, it's about owning your choices, your freedom, your power. Think about this. How many people do you know who hate their jobs but can't quit? How many people are trapped in family expectations, toxic friendships, or miserable lives just because they depend on someone else? When you don't have your own source of income, your own skill set, your own independence, you are at the mercy of others. And let's be honest, people will use that against you. If they know you need them, they will make sure you never forget it. When you are dependent, you have no control. Someone else decides how much you get, when you get it, and if you deserve it. But when you are your own boss, you make the rules. You don't have to wait for someone to sign your paycheck. You don't have to ask anyone for financial help. You don't have to tolerate disrespect because you are afraid of losing support. You are in charge of your destiny. Think of a young girl with dreams of traveling the world, starting a business, or creating something extraordinary. But she never focuses on building herself, she never prioritizes her career. And then reality hits. She grows up and realizes she doesn't have the resources to make her dreams happen. She waits for someone to come and change her life, to give her permission to live. And what happens? She spends her entire life waiting. Now picture another girl, one who works hard, who never relies on luck, who builds herself day by day. She wakes up and books that flight without asking anyone for money. She buys her own house without waiting for marriage. She walks into a store and picks what she wants without looking at price tags. Why? Because she is her own boss. Because she never waited for someone to give her freedom. She created it. Think about a mother who always sacrificed her dreams for others, who never invested in herself, who depended on her partner for everything. And then life happens. Her husband leaves, financial trouble hits, everything changes, and she realizes too late that she has no skills, no options, no independence. That is the reality of dependence. It leaves you powerless when you need power the most. Now think of another mother, one who built herself alongside her family, who made sure she had something of her own, who created financial security even in a marriage. If life throws her a curveball, she is ready. She can stand on her own. She doesn't have to beg. She doesn't have to tolerate. She doesn't have to stay. She moves forward because she built herself for this moment. Being your own boss means never having to compromise your self-respect. It means walking into any situation knowing that you have choices. It means being fearless because you don't need anyone to save you, you save yourself. It means setting standards for your life and not lowering them out of fear. Think about it. If you are dependent on someone for money, do you think you can truly speak your mind? Do you think you can demand what you deserve? Do you think you can walk away when you are being disrespected? No, you can't. You will hesitate, you will think twice, you will stay silent when you should speak. That's the cost of dependence. Imagine a girl who loves luxury, who dreams of success, who wants the best things in life, but she waits for a man to provide it. She relies on someone else's wealth instead of creating her own. And one day, that support is taken away. Now what? She has to start from zero. She has to struggle when she could have built herself all along. But imagine a girl who never waited, who hustled, who worked, who made her own name. She doesn't need anyone to buy her expensive things, she buys them herself. She doesn't need a rich husband, she is the rich wife. That is the power of independence. People respect those who don't need them. The world listens to those who have built something of their own. The moment you stop depending on others, you take back control. You no longer wait for opportunities, you create them. You no longer settle, you choose. You no longer live in fear, you live in power. If you don't want to wake up one day and realize you have no options, no freedom, no control, start today. Build your own, stand on your own, be your own boss. Because the world belongs to those who don't wait. The world belongs to those who refuse to beg, who refuse to depend, who refuse to be at someone else's mercy. Be that person, be your own boss. Success is the best revenge. Not anger, not tears, not words, just success. Because when you win, when you rise above everything that was meant to destroy you, there is no greater answer. The people who doubted you, who laughed at your dreams, who walked away when you needed them, let them watch. Let them watch as you become everything they said you couldn't. Let them watch as you turn every insult, every rejection, every failure into fuel. Think about the times you were underestimated, the times people told you that you weren't good enough, smart enough, strong enough. Maybe it was a teacher who doubted your abilities, a boss who never saw your potential, a friend who secretly wanted you to fail. Maybe it was a partner who didn't believe in you, who made you feel small. Do you really think proving them wrong with words is enough? No. Words fade, but success is undeniable. Imagine a girl who was constantly told she wouldn't make it. Maybe she wasn't the smartest in school, maybe she came from nothing, maybe she was rejected from job after job. People laughed at her ambition, they told her to be realistic, and instead of breaking, she worked harder. While others were sleeping, she was learning. While others were complaining, she was building. Years later, she walks into the same rooms where people once ignored her, and now they can't take their eyes off her. They don't remember the girl they doubted, they only see the powerful, successful woman she became. That is revenge. Think about the relationships that broke you. The person who left you when you needed them most. The one who said you'd never find better. The one who expected you to fall apart without them. They moved on, thinking you would stay stuck, but you didn't. You focused on yourself, you built yourself into someone even you admire. Now, when they see you, they see a version of you they never imagined, a version they can no longer reach. That's revenge. Not begging, not crying, not trying to prove your worth to someone who never valued you. Just success, just leveling up so high that they become irrelevant. There are people in this world who will always wait for you to fail, who will secretly hope that you give up, not because you can't do it, but because your success makes them uncomfortable. Because when you rise, they have to face their own fears, their own excuses, their own laziness. The moment you prove them wrong, they have no choice but to question themselves. That's why your success is the greatest revenge, because it forces people to see that the limits they placed on you were never real. Imagine a guy who thought you'd always depend on him, who believed you wouldn't be anything without him, who used his success to make you feel small. Now imagine walking past him in a room full of people, dressed in confidence, carrying an aura of power. Imagine the look on his face when he realizes he lost someone extraordinary. That's revenge. Not pettiness, not trying to make them jealous, not looking back, just moving forward so far that they can't catch up. Think about the family members who doubted you, who compared you to others, who made you feel like you were always behind. The best way to answer them is not with frustration but with action. Build a life that makes them speechless. Walk into a room and let your presence be the proof that you made it. Let your success speak so loudly that their past words become irrelevant. Think about the struggles, the failures, the times you wanted to quit. If you stop now, they win. The people who said you'd never do it, they win. The ones who secretly hoped you'd fail, they win. But if you keep going, if you push through every obstacle, if you make it to the top, you win. And when you win, the world watches. Success is not just about money, fame, or status. It's about proving to yourself that you are always capable. It's about looking in the mirror and seeing someone who never gave up. It's about walking into any room with the confidence of knowing you created your own destiny. Revenge is best served in silence. No need to announce your plans, no need to explain yourself. Just work, just build, Just become unstoppable. And when the time comes, when your success speaks for itself, the same people who once doubted you will have no choice but to watch. No one can steal your knowledge. They can take your money, they can take your job, they can take your material possessions, but what's in your mind, what's in your soul, that is untouchable. That is your power. People spend their whole lives chasing things that can disappear in an instant. A luxurious house, an expensive car, a high-paying job. But the one thing no thief, no crisis, no downfall can ever take away from you is what you know. The skills you build, the wisdom you gain, the lessons you learn, these stay with you forever. Imagine a man who lost everything overnight. His business collapsed, his money vanished, his so-called friends disappeared. To the world, he seemed ruined. But what people didn't realize was that his true wealth wasn't in his bank account, it was in his mind. He knew how to rebuild. He had learned from every mistake, every failure, every hard-earned success. And so he started again. While others pitied him, he was already making a comeback. Because while the world saw loss, he saw an opportunity to use what could never be taken from him, his knowledge. Think about a student who barely had the resources to study. Maybe she had to work multiple jobs. Maybe she had to study under street lights because her house had no electricity. But she refused to give up because she knew one thing: education was her ticket to a life no one could take from her. And years later, when she became successful, no one could say it was luck. It wasn't money, it wasn't privilege. It was her mind that took her there. Knowledge is your best security in a world full of uncertainties. You can lose your job, but if you have skills, you will always find another way to earn. You can lose connections, but if you have intelligence, you will always attract the right people. You can lose comfort, but if you have wisdom, you will always find a way to rise again. Think of all the people who depend on others for their survival. The ones who are too afraid to learn, too afraid to grow. The ones who believe their company, their family, or their partner will always take care of them. And then, one day, life takes a turn. The job is gone, the relationship ends, the support disappears. Suddenly they realize they have nothing of their own. But for the ones who invested in themselves, who kept learning, who built their knowledge, nothing changes. Because while others are scrambling to find a way out, they already have a plan. No one can take away what's in your brain. You can be born in the poorest conditions, with no privilege, no inheritance, nothing handed to you, but if you choose to learn, if you choose to grow, you can create a life that no one can strip away from you. Think about the people who started with nothing. No family name, no wealth, no special advantages. The only thing they had was the willingness to learn, to adapt, to outthink their circumstances. And because of that, they built an empire. Imagine a girl who was always overlooked, always underestimated. Maybe she wasn't the loudest in the room, maybe she wasn't born into opportunity, but she studied people, she learned from every conversation, she absorbed knowledge like a sponge. And while others wasted their time chasing temporary things, she built herself. Years later, she walks into a room, and now everyone wants to know her. Why? Because knowledge made her untouchable. Knowledge is the only thing that appreciates in value. Money comes and goes, trends change, power shifts, but intelligence, wisdom, expertise, these only grow. The more you learn, the more unstoppable you become. The more you read, the more conversations you have, the more skills you acquire, the harder it becomes for anyone to put limits on you. Think about the times you wished you had more money. What if instead of waiting for wealth, you built skills that attracted it? What if instead of blaming the world, you mastered something so well that people had no choice but to pay you for it? Knowledge doesn't wait for the right circumstances. It creates them. People can copy your style, they can steal your ideas, they can even try to take credit for your work, but they will never have your mind. They will never have your unique way of thinking, your ability to solve problems, your depth of understanding. Because true knowledge is not memorized, it's experienced. And experience cannot be stolen. Every great person in history, every leader, every innovator, every self-made success story, they all had one thing in common. They valued knowledge above everything else. They understood that power doesn't come from money or status. It comes from knowing something so deeply, so completely, that no one can take it from you. And so, while others chase things that can be lost, focus on what will always be yours. Read more, learn more, master your craft. Because in the end, the only thing that truly belongs to you is what's in your mind. Financial independence is not just about money, it's about power, freedom, and control over your own life. It's about waking up every morning knowing that you don't have to depend on anyone to survive. It's about walking away from situations that no longer serve you without fear of being stranded. It's about choosing your happiness over obligation, your peace over pressure, and your dreams over someone else's approval. Think about the millions of people who stay in toxic relationships, in dead-end jobs, in homes where they are disrespected simply because they don't have the financial means to walk away. They swallow their pain, they suppress their dreams, they tolerate what they hate, all because they are trapped by money. But imagine if money was never a factor. Imagine if you had the power to say, I don't need this, I don't have to tolerate this, I can leave and build my own life. That is the power of financial independence. It gives you emotional independence. It gives you the ability to choose, not just endure. Think about a woman who stays in a relationship where she is undervalued. She knows she deserves better. She knows her happiness is being crushed every single day, but she stays. Not because she wants to, but because she has no choice. She depends on him for survival. And so she swallows her pride, she silences her pain, she convinces herself that this is just how life is. Now imagine a different version of her, a version that is financially independent. She doesn't have to beg, she doesn't have to compromise her self-respect. The moment she is disrespected, she stands up and leaves because she can. Picture a man stuck in a job that drains the life out of him. He hates it. Every single day feels like a slow death. But he stays, not because he loves it, but because he needs the paycheck. He dreams of doing something else, something that excites him, but he is chained to his salary. Now imagine if he had financial independence. Imagine if he had saved, invested, and built multiple income streams. He wouldn't need to stay. He could walk into his boss's office, hand in his resignation, and pursue what he truly loves, without fear, without hesitation. Money is not just paper, it's not just numbers in a bank account. It is the difference between staying and leaving, between tolerating and thriving, between being controlled and being free. It decides whether you settle or soar. Think about the people who get treated like an option because they don't have options. The ones who put up with humiliation, manipulation, and disrespect because they have nowhere else to go. But the ones who are financially strong, they don't need to beg for respect. They demand it. And if they don't get it, they move on, because their survival does not depend on anyone's kindness or approval. Financial independence means you don't have to stay in a house where you feel like a burden. It means you don't have to say yes when you want to scream no. It means you don't have to entertain people who make you feel small just because they provide for you. It means you don't have to choose security over self-respect. There are people who dream of traveling the world, of starting a business, of helping their parents retire, but they can't because they are financially stuck. But the ones who take control of their finances, they don't just dream, they do. They don't wait for permission, they create their own reality. Think about the girl who grew up in a family where she was told that her only future was to marry a rich man. She was told that her value depended on finding a provider. But she chose a different path. She focused on her education, she built her career, and one day she became the provider. Now she doesn't have to depend on a man. She can choose a man. And that right there is power. Money doesn't buy happiness, but it buys choices. It allows you to say no to what drains you and yes to what fulfills you. It allows you to love without needing, to give without sacrificing yourself, to walk away without breaking. Imagine never having to stay in any situation out of fear. Imagine making decisions based on what you want, not what you can afford. Imagine waking up every day knowing that your happiness is in your hands, not in someone else's wallet. That is what financial independence gives you. The world respects those who are self-sufficient. When you have your own, people treat you differently. They speak to you with more respect. They listen when you talk. They don't dare to mistreat you because they know you don't need them. But when you are financially dependent, people know they can manipulate you. They know you don't have the power to walk away, so they treat you however they please. Think about a mother who wants to give her child the best education but has to settle for less because she doesn't have the means. Now, imagine if she had financial independence. She wouldn't have to compromise. She wouldn't have to watch her child miss out on opportunities. She wouldn't have to feel powerless. She would be in control. The biggest illusion is thinking that someone else will always take care of you. Life changes, people change, circumstances change. The only guarantee you have is what you build for yourself. You don't want to wake up one day and realize that you've spent your whole life waiting for someone to save you, only to find out that no one is coming. You are your own rescue. You are your own provider. You are your own escape plan. Financial independence is not about greed, it's not about luxury, it's about dignity. It's about knowing that you never have to accept less than you deserve just because you can't afford better. It's about knowing that your future is in your hands. It's about knowing that no matter what happens, you will always land on your feet. Because you are not waiting for someone to catch you, you built your own wings. Dreaming is beautiful. It is where every great story begins. It is where you see yourself in the life you want, in the success you crave, in the love you deserve. But dreaming alone does not bring reality to your feet. Dreams require action, not just manifestation. The universe does not reward those who sit and wait. It rewards those who rise and chase. Think about the countless people who spend their lives saying, "One day I'll be successful, one day I'll be rich, one day I'll start my own business." But years pass and that one day never comes because they never took the steps to make it happen. They kept dreaming but they never started doing. The difference between those who achieve and those who remain stagnant is not intelligence, not luck, not talent. It is action. Imagine a girl who dreams of becoming a famous singer. Every night she closes her eyes and envisions herself on the biggest stage, the lights shining, the crowd cheering. She manifests it, she believes in it. But she never takes a singing lesson, never practices, never steps on a small stage to build herself up. 10 years later, she is still in the same place, still dreaming, while someone else, who may have had less talent but more effort, is living the dream she only imagined. Think about an aspiring entrepreneur who dreams of starting his own business. He tells everyone about his vision, about how he will be his own boss, about how he will build something extraordinary. But when it comes to taking the first step, learning, investing, sacrificing, he freezes. He keeps waiting for the perfect time, the perfect opportunity, the perfect circumstances. But perfection never comes. And so his dream remains a dream, while someone else with fewer resources but more courage takes the risk and turns their vision into reality. Dreaming without action is like staring at a map but never walking the path. You can have the clearest vision of where you want to go, but if you don't move, you will stay right where you are. The world is full of people with great ideas, but ideas alone don't create empires. Execution does. Think about an athlete who dreams of winning a gold medal. He doesn't just sit in his room visualizing himself on the podium. He wakes up before the sun. He trains when his body is screaming for rest. He pushes through pain and exhaustion because he knows that manifestation without movement is just an illusion. The ones who succeed are not always the ones who had the biggest dreams, but the ones who took the boldest steps. The ones who refused to wait. The ones who said, I don't need the perfect conditions, I just need to start. Because action creates momentum, and momentum builds success. Think about a woman who always dreamt of traveling the world, of seeing new places, of experiencing life beyond her small town. But she kept waiting for the right amount of money, waiting for the right company, waiting for the perfect time. And so the years passed and she never saw the world she dreamt of. But someone else who had less money, who had no perfect conditions, packed their bag, took a leap of faith, and lived the adventure she only imagined. You cannot wish your way into success. You cannot pray your way into greatness while sitting idle. Yes, faith is powerful. Yes, belief is essential, but even the universe moves in favor of those who take action. You have to show life that you are serious about your dreams. You have to prove through your actions that you are ready for what you are asking for. Think about a student who dreams of graduating with honors, of building a future where she is independent and powerful. But when the time comes to study, to focus, to sacrifice temporary fun for long-term success, she doesn't. She convinces herself that she still has time, that she will start tomorrow, but tomorrow turns into months, into years, and eventually she is left behind while those who took action moved forward. Manifestation is not magic. It is not about sitting in your room and wishing until something falls into your lap. It is about aligning your energy with your effort. You cannot say, I want success, and then spend your days procrastinating. You cannot say, I want wealth, and then avoid the work that creates it. You cannot say, I want love, and then refuse to heal, to grow, to become the kind of person who attracts the love they seek. Think about the greatest people in history, the ones who changed the world, who built empires, who created legacies. They didn't just dream about it, they fought for it. They failed, they fell, but they kept going. They didn't wait for a sign, they became the sign. A dream without action is just a fantasy. And a fantasy will not pay your bills. It will not build your legacy. It will not give you the life you deserve. If you want something, stop waiting, stop making excuses, stop expecting the universe to do the work while you sit back. Because the truth is, the universe is watching, and it does not respond to wishes, it responds to work. The world is filled with people who will never understand your hustle, who will question your choices, who will doubt your path. They will tell you to slow down, to take it easy, to be realistic. They will whisper behind your back, calling you obsessed, saying you've changed, saying you think you're better than them. But here's the truth. Those who matter will never mock your ambition. The right people will respect your hustle. Imagine a woman working late into the night, long after everyone else has gone to sleep. Her friends call her boring because she doesn't go out as much. Her family questions why she's working so hard. They don't see the vision, they don't feel the fire. But then there's that one friend who checks in and says, I see you, I see your hard work, and I respect it. That's the kind of person you need to keep close. The ones who don't ask why you're grinding, but instead ask, how can I support you? Look around, who celebrates your small wins? Who claps for you when you're making progress, even if it's slow? Who understands when you say, I can't hang out, I have work to do? The right people will never make you feel guilty for chasing your dreams. They won't belittle your ambitions or make you feel like you're doing too much. They will stand beside you, push you forward, and remind you why you started in the first place. Think about the student who spends hours studying while others are out partying. Her classmates tease her, saying she's missing out on life. But the right friends, they admire her discipline. They remind her that this sacrifice is temporary, that the rewards will be worth it. They don't tell her to stop, they tell her to keep going. Think about the entrepreneur who is building something from nothing. He's hustling every day, skipping vacations, working weekends, sacrificing sleep. His old friends laugh at him. They tell him he's crazy, that he's wasting his time, but then he meets someone else who is on the same journey. Someone who looks at him and says, I see the fire in you. Keep pushing. That's the kind of energy you need. The ones who don't mock your hustle, but match it. There will always be people who feel threatened by your ambition. People who project their own fears onto you. They are afraid to take risks, so they don't want you to either. They settle, so they want you to settle. They quit on their dreams, so they want you to quit on yours. But you don't owe them an explanation. You don't have to shrink yourself to make them comfortable. The right people won't ask you to dim your light, they will push you to shine even brighter. Think about the athlete waking up at 5 a.m. to train. His old friends laugh at him, telling him he's taking it too seriously. But then he meets a mentor who tells him, your discipline will set you apart. Keep going. That mentor sees what the others don't. That mentor respects his hustle. The right people will understand why you work so hard, why you push yourself, why you refuse to accept an average life. They won't tell you to relax when they see you striving for greatness. They won't tell you to be satisfied when they know you're capable of more. They won't make you feel bad for choosing work over distractions, because they know what it takes. They've been there. Or maybe they just believe in you enough to support you, even if they don't fully understand your journey. Think about the writer who spends years working on her book, pouring her heart and soul into every page. People ask her, why don't you get a normal job? They tell her she's wasting her time. But then there's one person who says, I believe in your talent. Don't stop. That one person sees her potential. That one person respects her hustle. You do not need validation from those who do not understand your grind. The wrong people will laugh at your dreams, but the right ones will protect them. The wrong people will call you crazy, but the right ones will call you committed. The wrong people will question your sacrifices, but the right ones will remind you that success requires them. Surround yourself with those who inspire you, those who push you forward, those who make you feel like you're not alone in this journey. Because the right people, they won't just respect your hustle, they will remind you why you started in the first place. Confidence isn't something you're born with, it's something you build. It doesn't come from the flattering words of others, the validation of society, or the compliments you receive on a good hair day. True confidence is not about how many people tell you that you're amazing. It's about knowing it for yourself. It's about standing tall even when no one is clapping. It's about walking into a room, not waiting for approval, but knowing that you belong. Think about the student who used to struggle with math. She was constantly told, you're not good at numbers, and she started believing it. But one day, she decided to take control. She stayed up late, she practiced endlessly. She refused to give up. The first time she aced a test, something changed. Not because the teacher finally praised her, not because her friends finally believed in her, but because she proved to herself that she could do it. That's where confidence is born, in the fire of effort, in the battle of persistence. Imagine an athlete training for months. In the beginning, he is slow, out of breath, weak. But he doesn't stop. He trains when no one is watching. He runs when his legs feel like giving out. He lifts when his muscles are screaming. And then one day, he realizes that he doesn't need someone to tell him he's strong. He feels it. He doesn't need applause to know he's improving. His body tells him. That's the thing about confidence. It comes from capability, from mastery, from doing the hard things repeatedly until they become easy. There's a woman who walks into a meeting room filled with powerful people. Years ago, she would have hesitated, second-guessed herself, wondered if she was good enough. But not today, because she spent years honing her skills. She knows her work inside out. She has the experience, the knowledge, the preparation. So she doesn't need someone to tell her she belongs. She knows she does. Compliments can be taken away, but competence, that's something no one can steal from you. Think about a singer stepping onto the stage. 100 voices could cheer her on, but if she hasn't trained, if she hasn't practiced, those compliments will mean nothing when she forgets the lyrics or sings off key. On the other hand, even if no one says a word, if she has put in the work, if she has mastered her craft, she will own that stage. That's what people don't realize. Confidence isn't about others believing in you. It's about knowing deep down that you can deliver, that you can stand tall because you have earned that right. A young entrepreneur starts a business. In the beginning, people doubt him. They say, "Are you sure this is a good idea?" They don't believe in him yet, and maybe in the early days he relies on their encouragement. But as time goes on, as he builds his empire, as he learns the ins and outs of his industry, something shifts. He doesn't need to hear, "You're doing great" anymore. He knows it. His confidence doesn't come from the words of others, but from the knowledge that he can solve problems, adapt, and keep moving forward. A dancer steps onto the stage. If she has spent months perfecting a routine, she won't need the audience to cheer for her to feel confident. Her body already knows the rhythm. Her feet already understand the movement. But if she has only relied on people telling her she's good, if she hasn't put in the work, the moment she makes a mistake, that confidence will shatter. Because confidence built on compliments is fragile. Confidence built on capability, unbreakable. Think about a child learning to ride a bike. The first few tries, they're wobbly, scared, uncertain. Their parents encourage them, saying, "You can do it." But real confidence doesn't come from hearing those words. It comes from the moment they pedal forward on their own, feeling the balance, knowing that they've got it. That's the shift. That's when they realize, "I don't need someone to tell me I can do this, I just did." A woman walks into a party wearing a beautiful dress. People shower her with compliments. "You look stunning," they say. She smiles, but deep down she knows that confidence isn't about the dress, it's about how she carries herself. Because if she had walked in with self-doubt, no amount of compliments would fix that. But if she walked in knowing who she is, knowing her worth, knowing that her power is beyond what she wears, then even without a single compliment, she will still shine. A man stands up to give a speech. If he hasn't practiced, if he hasn't prepared, then even if the audience claps before he begins, he will still feel nervous. But if he has rehearsed, if he has mastered his message, then even in a silent room he will feel confident. That's the truth. Words from others may lift you temporarily, but real confidence, it comes from knowing you are capable, knowing you have put in the work, knowing that you don't just deserve to be here, you have earned it. Your future self is watching you. She is standing there a few years ahead, looking back at this exact moment, at the choices you are making today. She is hoping, praying, that you are strong enough to do what needs to be done. She is not just a dream, not just a version of you that magically appears one day. She is created by your actions, built by your discipline, shaped by the sacrifices you make now. Imagine a student, tired and frustrated, staring at an open book late at night. Her friends are out having fun, laughing, living in the moment. She feels the temptation to close the book, to join them, to tell herself that one night won't make a difference. But in that moment, she hears a voice, her future self, whispering, "Stay, just a little longer, push a little harder, because one day you will thank yourself for this." And so she stays, she studies, she prepares. And years later, when she walks across that graduation stage, when she lands that dream job, when she stands on her own 2 feet, she realizes this is what she was working for. Think about the person trying to get fit, waking up at 5 a.m. to hit the gym. The alarm rings and every part of their body wants to go back to sleep. No one will know if I skip today, they think. But their future self knows. The version of them that is stronger, healthier, more confident. She knows. So they get up, they train, they sweat, and months later when they see their reflection, when they feel that newfound energy, they smile. Because now they understand. Those early mornings were never just about working out. They were about proving to themselves that they had what it takes. Picture a woman in a toxic relationship, constantly belittled, constantly told she's not good enough. She wants to leave, but fear grips her, fear of being alone, fear of the unknown, fear that maybe he's right. But then she closes her eyes and sees her future self. A woman standing tall, unbreakable, free. "I am waiting for you," she whispers. "I need you to be strong." And so she walks away. She chooses herself. Think about the entrepreneur working late into the night, pouring their heart into a dream that no one else believes in. There are days when doubt creeps in, when the failures pile up, when they wonder if it's all worth it. And then they picture their future self, successful, powerful, fearless. That version of them is only possible if they don't give up. So they keep going. They work when no one is watching. They build when no one is clapping, and one day when they stand in their own empire, they will know it was all worth it. A woman stands in front of a mirror, feeling insecure, picking apart everything she sees. The world has told her she is not enough, that she needs to change, that she needs to be more. But then she imagines her future self, a woman who radiates confidence, not because she fits anyone's mold, but because she owns who she is. "I am waiting for you," she says. "But I can't exist unless you start loving yourself now." And so she straightens her back, she lifts her chin, she decides her worth will never be defined by anyone but herself. A young man is surrounded by friends who are going nowhere, wasting time, living without purpose. He feels the pull to fit in, to stay where it's comfortable, to not break away. But then he thinks of his future self, the leader, the achiever, the man who made it, and that version of him is standing far ahead, calling out, "You don't belong here, walk away, choose better." So he does. He makes the hard choice, and years later, when he is living the life he once only dreamed of, he understands his future self was always right. There is a woman who is scared to take a risk, scared to leave her comfort zone. She tells herself, "What if I fail? What if I make a mistake?" But then she imagines meeting her future self, the version of her who dared, who took the leap, who built something incredible. And that woman looks at her and says, "I am only here because you were brave enough to start." So she takes the risk. She steps into the unknown. And one day, when she sees how far she has come, she smiles. Because fear never built a great future, but courage always does. A mother works tirelessly, balancing everything, feeling exhausted. Some days she wonders if all her sacrifices are worth it. But then she thinks of her future self, the woman who raised strong, independent children, the woman who built a legacy, the woman who never gave up. And she realizes every late night, every early morning, every struggle is shaping the future she wants. So she keeps going because she knows her future self is counting on her. A girl stands at a crossroads, unsure of which path to take. One road is easy, filled with shortcuts, comfort, and temporary happiness. The other is harder, requiring discipline, patience, and sacrifice. She hesitates, but then she sees her future self standing at the end of the harder road, stronger, wiser, proud. "Choose wisely," she says, "because the life you want is on this path, not the easy one." So the girl takes the difficult road, and one day when she reaches the end, she realizes her future self was never a stranger. She was always the woman she was meant to become. Your future self is not some distant stranger, she is the product of your decisions today. Every action you take, every risk you embrace, every moment you choose discipline over distraction is shaping her reality. She is standing there watching, waiting, hoping that you do not betray the potential she knows you hold. She is not asking for perfection, but she is begging you for effort. She is whispering, "Do not disappoint me," because here is the truth. There are no second chances at time. You cannot rewind the clock and redo the years wasted in fear, hesitation, or procrastination. The dreams you put on hold today will not wait for you forever. The opportunities you ignore now will not remain open indefinitely. The version of you that you could become, strong, successful, unstoppable, depends on whether or not you take action in this moment. Greatness is never given, it is earned. And the price? Hard work when no one is watching, dedication when doubt is screaming in your ears, sacrifice when comfort is tempting you to settle. Champions are not made in the spotlight. They are built in the darkness, in the moments when quitting seems easier than continuing. If you want to meet the most powerful version of yourself, you must be willing to suffer for it, to bleed for it, to fight for it. There is no shortcut, no secret formula. The only way to become the person you admire is to do the things most people are too afraid to do. Stay disciplined when others are distracted, stay hungry when others are satisfied, stay relentless when others are weak. Because the world does not hand success to those who wait. It bows to those who refuse to be ignored. You must understand one thing, nobody is coming to save you. Not your family, not your friends, not society. If you want a better life, you must create it with your own hands. If you want success, you must be willing to sweat for it. If you want respect, you must earn it through action, not words. The people you admire, the ones who inspire you, did not wait for permission to be great. They claimed their power. And now it is your turn. What separates the extraordinary from the ordinary is not luck. It is relentless action. It is waking up every morning and deciding that you will not live an average life. It is refusing to accept mediocrity when you were born to be exceptional. It is looking in the mirror and saying, I am not finished yet. My story is not over. My best days are ahead of me. People will doubt you. They will laugh at you. They will question your dreams, belittle your ambitions, and tell you that you are reaching too high. Let them talk. Let them underestimate you. Because one day, when you have built the life they never believed you could, their words will mean nothing. Success is the best revenge. And the greatest revenge of all, becoming the person they swore you could never be. Do not let fear paralyze you. Fear is an illusion. A liar, a thief of dreams. It will whisper every excuse, every reason why you should stay small, stay safe, stay unseen. But here is what fear does not want you to know. Your greatest victories lie on the other side of it. The moment you stop running from fear and start chasing it, you will realize that it was never bigger than you. You were always stronger, you were always capable. Your future self is waiting at the finish line, cheering for you, believing in you, but she cannot cross it for you. That is your job. That is your responsibility. So run, fight, build, become. Because one day, when you stand on the mountain of your success, looking down at the road you traveled, you will smile and say, I did not give up, I did not break, I did not disappoint her.